My people, had we believed in the first place that we are partners with God in the making, we wouldn't be struggling today. The majority of people, especially the black people, wouldn't be at the stage. When I look at the statistics as yet, I am discovering that we are the very high percentage of people that are disadvantaged in life. Had we believed in the first place that we are the partners in the we are the partners with God in the creation, in the business of creating, in the business of movement, in the business of doing things, we would have understood his principles from the beginning. Let me just talk to someone today. Maybe this will make a little bit of some sense to someone. Had we used the strategy that we have used when we were at school, from the primary level to the secondary level, and from the secondary level to the tertiary level, and from the tertiary level to the university level, had we used the very same concept that we had, that one day I will be a doctor, one day I'll be a lawyer, one day I'll be an engineer, one day I'll be this, one day I'll be that. Had we used that very system or the concept of understanding that whatsoever that I wanted to be, I spoke about it, I kept on saying it from an early childhood age. I kept on saying it. I kept on saying it until it sank in my mind, until it sank in my heart. And whatsoever movement that I have taken, I have moved towards the direction of what I wanted to be. From choosing the subjects of what I want to be, from choosing the subjects that will lead me to what I always wanted to be. If I want to be a doctor, well, I know what subjects to choose. And we are the partners in the making. Had we believed that from the beginning, we would have been far by now. Look, the very same God that we worship, he gave us the very same principle that we have spent a lot of time at school by trying to create what we see, instead of dwelling much more into the spiritual space to understand what God wanted us to be, what God wanted us to create in the beginning. Remember, whatever that we say, we keep on saying it with our mouth and we believe in it, and at the end of the day, we achieve it because we believed in it and we meditated on it until we make it. So the majority of us today, we don't make it in life simply because we haven't learned that we are the partners of God in creating. We are the partners of God in achieving. When we say, be careful of what you are saying, because what you are saying is simply what you will become. Because the word that you utter becomes the substance, and that substance will guide your actions and your mindset. Whatever that I think about is what I have heard, is what I've seen, is what I've experienced. So the mind of a human being revolves on what we have learned from childhood. Now, I am here to say, if we want to make it in life and change the narratives of a black person, we need to change the way we think. Our thinking pattern needs to be at another level, because as yet we are the African children that are at a high rate of poverty, because our mindset were doctrinated to be the slaves of someone else. We don't want to think beyond the scale, beyond the human limitation. We don't want to break the boundaries in order to access resources that are there in the spiritual space. Look, whatever resides in the spiritual space if you can access it and you get it to make sense to you, trust me, you can bring it to the manifestation. As long as you understand the principles that God has used in the beginning. The reason I'm saying we are the partners with God in the business is because whatever that we say, we keep on practicing and practicing. It sink in our mind, it sink in our heart, and we practice it, and we choose to be what we are. Whatever that we are today is we are the product of our imagination. We are the product of our choices. So for us to be poor today is our own choice. The fact that we are in the bondage of poverty, it's because we don't want to break the limitations. We don't want to walk the corridors of thinking pattern, leaving what we know behind, trying to access things that we don't know. Remember, you are the partner with the Creator. The reason I'm saying this is because, look, God, Jehovah, is not a God of Christians. This, I just want to make this clear, because us Christians have this concept that God is our God, and we want to point other people, we want to point fingers to other people as if they are not worshiping the real God. God, Jehovah, who is in heaven, He is God of all creation. Oh, God of all creatures, God of all locusts, God of mosquitoes, God of zebras, God of everything. So if you wanna be the partner with God, you will start understanding that God is not a respecter of persons, but God uses someone who will bow down to Him and say, Father, help me, teach me, guide me, show me. I want to be your partner in all dimensions and aspects of life. God shall come down and use you. First things first, allow God to change your thinking pattern, because the way we think has been corrupted long ago. We need to change the way of thinking as African people in order to access high resources from the spiritual dimension to bring it forth to the world of manifestations. I know only few people shall understand what I am really trying to say here. I gave you an example about school. At school, at a young age, you believed that one day you'll be a doctor, one day you'll be a lawyer, one day you'll be an engineer, one day you'll be a pharmaceutical, one day you'll be astrology, one day you'll be a pilot. You believed in that, and you worked towards it. You chose the subjects in working towards what you always wanted to be, and you fed your mind. In your mind, you channeled your mind to that direction, and at the end of the day, you made it. Now, let me give you something which is so simple. If you really want to make it in life, it's not about education. Education is there to guide us, to help us see world in another dimension. Let me speak to someone who never went to school, just like myself. I never went to a tertiary level. I never went to any kind of a school where I've learned better things. I'm just someone, an ordinary someone. But because of I've always listened to the upper dimensional spiritual guidance that gives you the mind that will always see things and start questioning things. The moment you start questioning things, you start being inquisitive. The moment you become inquisitive, you raise questions. The moment you start asking questions, you start looking for answers. And as much as you go further and further and further, you will find that the more you find answers, you raise more questions. And the more you raise more questions, you get intellectually up. Your intellect becomes high, and you start gathering information that may help you at the spiritual space and also at the physical dimension. And once you reach that dimension, you'll get to understand that education is there to help you, to guide you, but it's not the core of success. Let me ask you, we have billionaires. We have Mark Zuckerberg, we have Bill Gates, we have Jeff Bezos, we have all these billionaires. Do you know their degrees? their educational degrees. They have none, but they're billionaires. You know why? It's because they understood. They vibrated high and understood. They opened new dimensions of understanding. They went to a spiritual space where there are secrets of things. And let me tell you that secrets of things are not hidden as much as a lot of people think that those people, no. There's nothing which is hidden. Change your thinking pattern. Listen to this. God has given you the brain, the mind. The brain is in the head. If you operate the brain, you shall see the head. You shall see the brain. But the brain are not the imagination. The brains, you can see the brains inside the head, but you'll never see the imagination. The imagination is the process in which God is using to feed you with the information, which is hidden in the spiritual level. Now, God has given you the brain. People may see your brain when they operate your head, but they will never see your imagination. Why? Because your imagination is the direct link which God uses to communicate with you. That is the reason why when you have ideas, you start working towards your ideas. You start making plans. You start creating wealth. You start creating businesses. You start seeing opportunities. And those opportunities comes from the spiritual world. They come through imagination, and you start working. Put works on it. You gather money. You start creating capital in order to start what is in your imagination. Your imagination comes from God himself. The brain resides in the head, but the imagination is not in the head. It's in the spiritual space. So I am here to tell you today that you are the partner of God in the creating. You are the partner of God in the upper dimensional space. You are the partner. Be careful of what you say about yourself. Because if you keep on saying, I suffer, I don't know how long I will suffer, and you know what, my things are not coming together, other people are succeeding, but myself, and what, you are simply binding yourself. Speak power all the time. Speak life all the time. You see, now I'm not speaking at a dimension of any religion. I'm not at any religion space. I'm not at any religious space. I am speaking general to everyone and anyone. Doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you are a Zion, I don't care. Presbyterian, I don't care. I'm speaking to someone who's got brains to imagine. Because imagination doesn't reside in the head, but there's God in heaven who sees and listens to your imagination. No one on earth will ever see what you think, but only one man in heaven that gives you the imagination. In other words, God has given you the mechanism of brain in order to connect with him at the upper space. Whenever you want to do something, you use your imagination to connect to the upper space. God is there. He has created the so-called nature as a mechanism so that everybody, when you start connecting at the upper space, nature shall listen to what you say. God is above nature, is above everything. But nature responds to what you say because your word becomes power. That is why I said in the beginning, you are the partner of God in his business. So the business of God is to help you achieve in order to help others to achieve. Because God is the good of all good deeds. God is God of all good deeds. So God will help you to achieve good deeds in order to help others to achieve good deeds, in order to worship him with pride, worship him with joy, worship him with overwhelming joy. God hasn't placed us on earth to suffer. But a lot of us think that we are on earth to suffer because we fail to understand that we are partners with God in the making. Start believing in that. In the beginning, God says, I'm creating this human being, and this human being shall possess power. This human being shall control in the space. This human being shall control in the seas. This human being shall speak the word, and it shall be so. He said to Adam, Adam, you are the one who shall name all the animals on earth. And Adam named all the animals that you know, from the bird, the cow, the cat, the hen, the chickens, everything that you know by name were named by Adam, by the authority of God. This is simply telling you that God has given us the authority to operate with Him and to speak life and to change things only if we vibrate higher to the upper space of God. I'm helping someone to understand how God operates. If you want to make it in life, do not be scared to work. God is not a magician. God blesses hands. God blesses works of your hands. If you have something in your imagination, if you have plans in your imagination, have your plans written down plainly in order. Start working. For what? For capital. In order to start whatever that is in your imagination. Once you start doing what is in your imagination, God shall bless the works of your hands. Because for the Bible says, those who does not work, they must not eat. So in short essence, we are the partners of God. We need to work. We need to harvest in our Eden, because God has created the Garden of Eden. He said, you, Adam, shall be the one who shall plow in this land. This land shall give forth food for you and your children. And what are we if we don't want to plow and prepare the future for our children? Once we start doing things with our hand, the Almighty shall bless the works of our hands. Our God is not a magician. Never pray for money. Never pray for miracle, for magic. God is not a magician. Trust in God towards everything that you do. Use your hands. Work. God shall abundantly bless the works of your hands. From your point of presence to the future generations, your genealogy shall be blessed as long as you believe in Him. You are the partner of God in His mission. Trust me, God will help you.